traveling this journey, and Elijah has to remember that God provided for him. The secret of God's provision is remembering that God has brought you thus far. That's the secret. Remembering that he has brought you thus far. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 18, guess what it says? It says, remember what? Remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth. And wealth deals with an abundance of provision, not only for you, but for your family, for your offspring, and for generations to come. And I want you to know that God has promised great wealth to his people. God has promised great provision to his people. But what, preacher, is the secret of God's provision? I said, remember, number one, it's a process. Remember, number two, that the past of what God has done for you. Now, here's the last one on this particular point about traveling a journey, Stephen, of 100 miles, going from where you are to Zeraphath. Watch this. Now, when you look at the word Zeraphath, Google it, look it up. It talks about a refining process. It talks about being heated and taking precious metal, putting the precious metal, if you're taking notes, putting the precious metal in a heated environment so that the impurities are removed. And I want you to know that God allows each of us to go through Zeraphath. Zeraphath is the process that we must be willing to go through to receive the secret of God's provision in our life. And so Zeraphath, I want you to know whatever you're going through in your journey, no matter how hard it is, no matter how troubling it is in the area of your finances. There's somebody listening to the sound of my voice. You don't have 2 quarters to rub together to make $1. I mean, there are some people that are so broke, that are so busted, that are so disgusted, that are so in bankruptcy, that don't have a dime, don't have skill sets, can't find a market, can't find a job. The economy has seemed to be destroying their lives. But I want you to know that that is a secret of God's provision, and God can have the financial cup of your life overflow. Now, how is he going to do it? You must be willing to go through Zeraphath. You must be willing to go towards the refining process of God's word. And it is in God's word, Zeraphath, that he refines your mind. He refines your eyes so that you can begin to understand and see life through the eyes of God. And when we arrive at a place to where, Davion, we can see life through the eyes of God, then we can begin to recalibrate and align ourselves to the promises of God. So we find this young man. He not only had to go through a process, going to Zeraphath, 100-mile journey. He not only had to remember the past of how God has provided for him. The last thing he had to do, Stephen, he had to remember the promiser.